Garrett, I know on the sponsorship side, there's like another form of paid link building, which maybe it doesn't feel as risky to me, is the idea of like local
It hasn't been
sponsorship.
officially penalized. It doesn't mean it never will be.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, just the idea of local sponsorships, or maybe there's also national sponsorships in there,
Sure.
of things like
There's a few ways to slice a
5Ks
campaign like
and-
that. Yeah,
yeah.
you could go mission-based. We call it mission-based. So if you wanted to go in the wellness, you could look across the United States and find lots of wellness-related events and build some links that way. And then local is the primary driver of why people look for sponsorship link building. But I will say one of the primary benefits of the event, or the sponsorship rather, is the event itself and actually going to the event. We've seen a recent influx in interest from prospects. We haven't closed a whole bunch of them, but we've seen an influx of interest in people who are actually going to set up an event and drive leads from a hyperlocal event. And we see it as a potential marketing channel, like outdoor or print. I think it's an important place for some brands to be.
Okay.
Right? And what we've seen is that there are actually some very large, expansive brands who are actively at events consistently introducing their products and services. So it's happening now already. We kind of came in the link door, and then we're discovering this
extra value.
Yeah, perhaps even a greater value. I don't know, but
I'm sure case by case, bro.
Yeah. But it's been an interesting space to work, and it's the atmosphere is thin, profitability wise, but it's been neat to explore and kind of try and establish a working business model within that.
What it is on that note, is there certain ranges with sponsorships? I remember doing a little bit of this in the past where it was like very often, I think I remember you run in and like minimums would sometimes be like $300 for a sponsorship
Sure.
page. I don't know what is kind of your average range for stuff like that.
Average range is probably around 600. We do see a lot of variability around where our geography, what city are we in? So an average cost of sponsorship in Los Angeles could be closer to $700-800, whereas last we checked, and this is probably 2016, 2017 data, it was closer to $350-400 in Atlanta. So just very, very different costs of link building. I just want to reiterate, this is, the link is kind of the last benefit that any of these organizations really think of as being important to their sponsors. So there's a wide variety of other types of benefits, and the initial engagement that sort of opened my eyes up about this was the client was asking us about email lists a soccer, and they were in the real estate space, and they had a soccer program, a youth soccer program that they had sponsored, and they got great return on the newsletter somehow.
Okay.
I don't know, so there's just all of
ways.
these kinds of sort of fragmented opportunities at the hyperlocal level that I think are commonly passed over, and the links are certainly a reason to go in that door, but there's a lot more out there.
Nice. With those local sponsorships, one concern I would have, and it's probably because they're not abused, but I think with scholarships, I'm sure you've seen with I would think Google's never explicitly come out and said scholarship link building, where you create a scholarship on your site, reach out to get links, even if it's like not relevant, is devalued. They've never, probably because they don't want to take money away from schools, I would think.
From students.
Or students, students. But I would think that you could look for like in URL or in title scholarship, or it's on edu, devalue links that come from that page.
Sure.
Have you seen anything like that equivalent situation with like a sponsorship page? I would think, could they look for that? Is there a clear sense that
absolutely they can look for that. My experience with the local linking space or linking space is that there's very little linking opportunity, or it's sort of a I call it an inch deep and a mile wide. There's a lot of different types of organizations that could potentially link, but there are not very many of them. So you're kind of left with not a lot of places to get linking signals about what is local or what is important locally. So that's what I always tell prospects.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the answer is I don't really know, of course. But at the end of the day, there aren't a lot of places to go to get Austin links or San Diego links or whatever city you're in links, and these organizations that put on events and that are the nonprofits in those areas are intrinsic to these places. They're often the very culture of the city, right? And so they are kind of what the city is made of. I think you can find ways to get on their blog sometimes too. It's not always on a sponsorship page, but I think it would be difficult if I were Google to say, oh, we've got to devalue this swath of linking pages. At the end of the day, they've been giving links to their local sponsors since they started publishing websites.
Okay.
And so it's always been sort of a fundamental stamp on what the local link graph
Looks
be.
like.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
It makes sense, but it might not be right.
Yeah.
It's just
I mean, if the clients are still signing up for it, I'm guessing it's making a dent. Right?
It does.
I mean, clearly local, you mentioned the other ROI pieces as well. So that sure.
It's more expensive. Sponsorships are more expensive. And, like Julie said, if it was their last $10,000, I wouldn't say, absolutely, I'd say AdWords, this is, why are you trying, you're not going to get a return anytime soon. But it should certainly be a layer of your local link presence, and certainly it's an inroad into the community itself if you're actually going to.
That makes sense. So you actually want to do that.